What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Frag Out. My name is Caden, and today we're going to be starting a new series on the channel. This series is going to be what I'm calling Star Citizen for Dummies. The idea behind this series is to give you a basic rundown of how to get started in the game, including anything from navigation, like walking around, getting to your ship, flying your ship, landing, etc., as well as eventually we'll get into some of the more complicated stuff like FPS combat, ship combat, mining, contracts, etc., etc. Basically, I just want to cover everything that I can in this game because I think this game is really incredible, and we'll get more on my thoughts on the game here in a minute. But I want to cover as much as possible in as much detail as possible without being overwhelmingly detailed, because there's a lot to this game and it can be very overwhelming for the first time. So the idea is just to try to remove the overwhelming factor and make it so that you have as much fun as possible in Star Citizen. So with that being said, I just want to take a second to highlight the fact that if you aren't aware, this game is still in alpha. There's a lot of controversy about the fact that it's been in alpha for, I think, going on like 10 years now. And some people say, you know, there's not much progress that's been made. There's been a lot of money funneled into this game for years now, and this is all we've got, etc., etc. I mean, you can look the game up and see all the different opinions and comments and stuff about it. But for me personally, I really enjoy the game. I think it's a lot of fun. I haven't gotten burnout on it yet. I'm sure it's possible if I played every single day nonstop, but I don't. I play when I get free time and when I feel like it, so it's not like something I'm doing all the time. But I do definitely still enjoy the game. I think the game is a lot of fun. There's still plenty to do, even though it's an alpha. What the biggest highlight with this game for me is probably the community around it. The community around this game is genuinely really awesome. Everybody's friendly for the most part. 9 times out of 10, everybody's willing to help. If you have a question, if you have a problem, if you need, you know, say you are on a planet and your ship disappeared or got blown up or whatever the case may be and you need a ride, there's almost always someone willing to come and help you out. And that's incredible to me. I think I've never seen a community like it. With that being said, I just want to say before we get into this that if you intend to enjoy the game, in my opinion, you have got to go into it expecting there to be bugs, expecting there to be crashes, expecting things to break or not work properly. Because if you expect it, then you're not as surprised by it. I've definitely had my fair share of, times where I've died when I shouldn't have, or bugs or glitches. I've actually, surprisingly, in the 6 months or so I've been playing, I've only had one crash ever, which is kind of mind-blowing, but I guess I'm lucky. But I try not to get too attached to anything because like I said, I'm very aware that it is an alpha and that things are going to happen. So when they do, I just try to shake it off and say, hey, that's okay, we had fun. And I try to laugh at them because a lot of the times when you run into a bug or a glitch, it can be frustrating, but it's also funny. So just keep that in mind when you're playing. And you should have a good time. I try not, like I said, I try not to get too attached to anything because chances are you'll lose it, whether it's in a wipe, which happens sometimes right after updates, or maybe, you die a lot and you lose it, especially starting out. You just have to kind of expect it. And before we get going, let me just touch on wipes. I know I said, you might lose something in a wipe. To be clear, that doesn't happen very often. But it's happened twice in the 6 months I've been playing. I know that CIG have said they try to do it as little as possible so that, people aren't constantly losing stuff. But at the end of the day, the game is still an alpha and it's going to happen. So again, you just have to expect it. Don't get too attached to anything you have, because anything you haven't purchased with real money, you can lose. So just keep that in mind when you're playing, and I think you'll have a good time. But let's get into it, shall we? So I'm going to start this series based on, you've already bought a game package and you've downloaded the game, you figured all that out. If you guys want to see a video kind of explaining the store and which package to pick and where to go to actually get started from nothing, just let me know in the comments below, and I'd be more than happy to do that for you. I know the store can be a little confusing as well, but we're going to start from here. So one more thing to note, I am currently playing in what's called the PTU. This is the public, I believe it stands for Public Testing Universe or Persistent Testing Universe, for the 3.17.2 patch. So the current live build of the game is 3.17.1, I believe. This 3.17.2 patch is slated to come out in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. So I've got early access to it because I'm a subscriber. But the reason I chose to start this series in the PTU instead of just the PU is because I knew that I would be starting this 2 to 3 weeks before this update releases, and there's some interesting stuff in this update that I think is going to be relevant. So I figured we would just start it in this, and then once it goes live, everything will kind of flow over and will be as up-to-date as possible for as long as possible as far as the guide goes. So just wanted to throw that out there, but let's get started, shall we? So the first thing you're going to want to do is click on Persistent Universe here. Persistent Universe is basically just their word for multiplayer. And then it's going to take you straight into character creation. So I'm going to choose a male model. And then we can choose our base head model. So I don't know. I usually don't put a whole lot of thought into this just because you don't hardly ever see it anyway. But once you choose your first model, you can hit begin blending. And then, so the way this works is, you can blend every head feature or just individual features. So like, let's see, what would be a noticeable, like mouth, or let's do eyes. So if we wanted to blend eyes from, say, this guy, see how his look a little different than mine? You just select whichever face you like the eyes of, right? And you drag this to adjust how similar or different to, oh, look, I switched to ears on accident. How similar or different to your eyes will be. So we do eyes and drag the slider. You can see my eyes are now basically identical to his, only a different color. So I'm just gonna do whole head blending. And honestly, I'm not going to mess with it, actually. Like I said, you don't see much of it, but there's quite a bit of customization you can do here. But again, we're just going to leave this for now. We might change up our hair, though. Oh, whoops. Let's see. There we go. Let's rock that, but in a different color. Yeah, black's good. Yeah, that looks good. And then, yeah, like I said, that's about all I'm worried about, because you won't see much of it. But feel free to spend as much time on that as you want. So once you've customized your character and you're happy with it, you'll be taken to the primary residence selection. Now, this is important for a couple of reasons. This is when you choose this spot, this is where you will spawn initially, and then it'll also be where you spawn every time until you move your primary residence. And as far as I know, even if you move your primary residence in-game, any items or gear you purchase with real money on the pledge store, such as weapons, armor, etc., will be delivered to your initial primary residence's global inventory, or local inventory, I guess is what it's actually called. So just keep that in mind. So say I chose Area 18. If I understand correctly, any armor or items I buy on the pledge store, if I wanted to, would always go to Area 18, regardless of where I've changed my primary residence to, because you can change it once you're in game. So with that in mind, we'll go over some of the highlights of each selection here, because this is kind of important. So the first one in the list here, obviously the only system is Stanton. The first one in the Stanton system is Orison, or Horizon. I think it's pronounced Orison, though. So Orison is is a city, I guess, on the Crusader Industries planet. This is a new planet, has a 3.15. It's a very beautiful and very aesthetically pleasing planet. However, the issue is that because it's so new, there's not a lot here yet. It's not very fleshed out. There's habitats and I believe there's a food court, but as far as like shops for weapons and armor and ship upgrades and stuff, I think it's lacking some of those. Another, I guess, downside to this city and planet actually is that the planet is so massive that it actually can take you a really long time to get out of atmosphere, which you need to do to travel through space, obviously. So it can take longer to get around, basically. Additionally, probably the last downside of this location is that it's not really very centralized. It's in the, if you're kind of looking at the galaxy or the system top down, it's in the top leftish of the system, which is pretty far from all the other big planets and organizations. So just keep that in mind. It's probably my favorite looking planet, but as far as a primary residence, especially for beginners, I would probably not do that one. With that in mind, the next one is Lorville. So Lorville is another one that is actually it's a kind of a mixed bag. So it can be really pretty, and then there's other parts of it that are kind of dingy and ugly looking. It's probably the most centralized in the system. It sits right next to Stanton on the, again, if you're looking top down on the right side of the system, pretty close to ArcCorp and Microtech, which are the other two big corporations. So as far as traveling, it's kind of a midway point, which makes it nice, but this location also suffers from some of the same stuff as Orison. There's not really too many places to get weapons in the planet or even around the planet. Like Everest Harbor or any of the other stations. As far as ship upgrades and stuff, I know there's some stores on the planet, or even in the city. I'm just not exactly. I can't remember off the top of my head what, but it suffers from the same thing. It's kind of hard to get equipment there. Another one too for me on this one is probably that, especially for new players, it can be hard to navigate because it's just the way the city's laid out. It can be hard to figure out where to go and not get lost. So just keep that in mind. It's got some really pretty parts to it as well, and I've been to Lorville quite a bit and enjoy it. You can get some really cool contracts and stuff from there, but again, for beginners, I probably wouldn't choose that. The next one is Area 18. It's part of the ArcCorp planet. This is probably my favorite. It's definitely got its downsides. I think some people love the way it looks. I think there's definitely prettier, like Orison, for example. But basically the whole planet is one big city, so it's cool in that sense. But the best thing about Area 18 is that it's full of shops. There's a weapons, like a FPS weapons shop. There's a ship upgrade shop. There's a ship store. There's a really nice hospital. There's habitats. There's just all kinds of stuff. Basically, anything you need to get, you can get at Area 18, which makes it perfect for beginners. And it's also relatively centralized. There's lots of contracts available in the ArcCorp area, so you don't have to worry about that. So for this video, we'll be choosing Area 18, but I'll go ahead and cover New Babbage. New Babbage is part of the Microtech system. It's basically a frozen wasteland, the whole planet is. It's another really cool looking one in its own way, but again, it suffers some of the same problems that Lorville and Orison do. There's just not as many shops there as there is at Area 18, and the contracts are a little different by comparison too, in my experience. But I would say if you were gonna pick, it would probably have to be between Area 18 and New Babbage, especially for beginners. But again, we're gonna choose Area 18. So I'm just gonna set this as so I'm gonna choose Area 18 here, and then you can just see that it says that Area 18 is one of the main commercial ports for interplanetary traffic in the surrounding region of ArcCorp. Travelers can find a variety of goods from trusted names as well as local providers, if they're not overwhelmed by the sights and sounds of this landing zone. So once we've chosen that, you can choose your server location. I always just choose best, but if for any particular reason you need to choose one, you can. But we're just going to stick with best, and then we're going to hit set as primary residence. It's going to ask you to confirm it, which we will, and then it's going to load us into the game. So we're going to let this load, and then I'll catch you guys when it's done. Okay, so here we are. You notice we'll spawn in our habitat here. So I could have waited and let the choppiness clear up before I started recording again, but I didn't for a reason. Regardless of your PC, and you guys should be able to see my specs on my channel page, you're probably going to experience choppiness when you load in for the first time. It's just part of the game at the moment. It does clear up. You just have to be patient with it and give it some time to load everything in, like textures and assets and stuff. But once you've been in the game for a little bit, it definitely clears up. I'm not going to say it completely goes away and that you don't catch kind of hangs or hiccups here and there, but for the most part, it gets very smooth. So now that we are, let me just lie down really quick again to show you. Sitting works too, it does the same thing. So once you wake up in your bed, or once you spawn in your bed, to get up, you can either hold Y or just press a movement key like W, A, S, or D. And then you're up. So you'll notice at the bottom, you're kind of constantly getting tooltips in the HUD there. You'll also notice on the left side of the HUD there is chat. You can disable that with F12 if you like. I'm going to leave it enabled for now. You can start typing in chat with enter, and then, you start typing, hey, how's it going? Or whatever. And then if you were in a party with somebody, which we'll get into the comlink stuff later, you can change which chat channel you want to talk in by pressing tab on the keyboard, and where it says global chat, you would see it cycle between them. And then enter again to close it, of course. So the basic movement keys are pretty well the same as any other game. So WASD to move around, and then your mouse to move the camera. Third person, if you want to do third person, oh yeah, spacebar to jump, control to crouch, and then I believe it's not that. It's not what I meant to do. Don't worry, I'll explain this when it's important. And then you can hold X to prone, and then hold it again to get up. Or actually, just tap. You don't even have to hold it. Whoops. So for third person, that's going to be F4 on the keyboard, and then you can move around, and then if you press F4 again, it's going to give you kind of a more, like a further out camera. And then to move the actual camera around in third person without just looking around, you can hold Z and then drag your mouse to move it. There's some other more complicated camera controls that we'll get into, but that's for another video or another time. One more thing too, quick reference for keybinds and stuff. If you press escape and go to options and key bindings, you can see the full list here. These are actually flight keybinds. If you go down here and go to on foot, you can see all the on foot ones as well as mouse keys. So with that in mind, let's cover inventory really quick, yeah? So you press I to open your inventory, and you'll see on the right side is going to be what's called your local inventory. So this is just, you can see that I'm on area 8. Well, I'm on ArcCorp at area 18. So all of this stuff is stored in the city basically. But if I wanted to, let me get outside where it's lighter. Another important key while we're at it is going to be F. So F is kind of what I call interaction. You're going to use that key a lot. So to interact with stuff like this light switch here on the wall, you press F and then mouse over it and click. And this one doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't. Oh yeah, it does. There we go. There's lights. You can see I turn the lights on. I can hit it again to turn them off. There they go. But we'll turn them on and see if we can't do that in here. So you can see I'm wearing the free undersuit that they give you for the first time, and then as well as the helmet. But I've got this other gear that I purchased in-game, or on the pledge store, I'm sorry. We're going to leave that for now because I don't want to take away from the process of getting gear. We're just going to leave this on. But you can see if you mouse over like items you're wearing, you can see like details about it, and then when you're in the inventory, right click to move the camera around. But we'll leave that for now. What I want to do now, actually, we are going to turn chat off. What I want to do now, if this was my first time playing, I'd want to go get a ship, right? So again, F to interact, and then open to open the door. And you can see we're in the habitat hallway. Now, with habitats, you're going to spawn in one every time you leave the server and rejoin. There's a plan for there to be persistent habs, which just means, you know, the habitat is yours that you can hopefully in the future customize, but it's the same one every time. Right now it's just randomized. So you can see I was in habitat 1 now. You know, if I leave and rejoin, I might wind up in 2, 3, 4, etc. So with that being said, again, we're on Area 18, so we're out of our habitat. We're going to walk over here. Oh, see, there's a hiccup. And we're going to go to the lobby here, and right to our right is going to be the elevator. We're going to call that. Again, F to interact, and then just click on the call elevator button. And we'll wait for the elevator. And then once we get in the elevator, we're going to interact with this menu here. You'll notice what looks like a scroll bar here on the right. You can scroll wheel to zoom in and out when you're in the interaction mode too. But when you see a scroll wheel or a scroll bar, that means there's more options than what you can see. So you can see I'm also scrolling through the options. You can also click it and move it if you don't like how you're zooming in and scrolling at the same time. But we're going to go to the ground floor. And the first thing we're going to want to do is get some gear, right? Because if we're going to go into space, in theory, we could go into space with just our flight suit. But let's see. Actually, let me backpedal a little bit here. Let's check our account, right? So you press F1 to open what's called your Moby glass, and this is going to be basically where all your information is in the game. So you can see your current balance here. It looks like we have 100,014 Alpha UEC. You're going to start with about 20,000 Alpha UEC, I believe. So we will play this as if we were starting with that much. With that in mind, we'll do a quick glance over the Moby glass here. So the first tab down here is Comlink. This is just chat. This is where you'll go to, if you want to chat from this, you can, instead of using the other way I showed you earlier. You can also view the player list here. So these are all the people currently in our server. You can right-click somebody to invite to a party, invite to channel. Sorry about that. Send a friend request or mute them. And then here, if I had any friends on, they would show up in this channel here. And then pending is just pending communications. So that's kind of a quick rundown on chat. The next one is going to be Vehicle Loadout Manager. So what's important to note about this is you're only, where it says select ship here, you're only going to see ships that are stored at your current location. So we are at Area 18. That's where we chose our primary residence. So our ship is going to be stored at Area 18, at least initially, right? So if we were on, let's say, Lorville right now, and our ship was stored at Area 18, I would hit select ship and there would be nothing here. So just keep that in mind. If you can't find your ship in the loadout manager, it's probably stored somewhere else. So a quick rundown on this. I'll do a more detailed video about ship loadouts later, but right now, you can, just to show you what it's capable of, so through this menu, you can change basically everything about your ship. So you can change the coolers, the power plants, the quantum drive, shield generator. That's all under the systems tab. You can change the paint. I bought a paint for this, so I'm going to go ahead and apply that and save changes. And then you can also change all the weapons. So you can buy ship upgrades and stuff in-game and then apply them to your ship. So like you can see, let's see. They may not have transferred over to PTU. Okay, but if I had a different missile selection here, it would show up right underneath here, and I could just unequip and then equip that. But that's a basic rundown on that. We won't, like I said, we won't get too in-depth on this because there's a lot to it, and I don't want to take up the whole video showing you that. We can do a separate video for that. The next tab down here is going to be what's called knickknacks. This is basically just a quick way to see your every inventory you have across all the different planets. So obviously, we've only been to Area 18, and that Area 18 is on ArcCorp, so that's the only one that's going to show up currently. But if we had stuff stored on other planets, they would show up here as well. But all this does is just, if I hit open on ArcCorp and then open on Area 18, you can see all the things in my local inventory at Area 18. It's just useful if you're trying to find something, but you don't know where you left it at. You can go looking through here and try to find it that way. You can't interact with it, but it'll at least show you where it's at. So with that being said, the next tab is Skyline. So this is the, kind of think of it like a GPS for space. So you can, basic navigation is just, if you hold left click, you can drag it around this way. And then if you want to like select a specific area, you can double click on the planet. And then say we wanted to go to Wayla. You double click on that, and then again right click to drag around. You can scroll wheel also to zoom in and out, and then you would select a spot and set route, but we'll go over that once we get into space because you can't set routes when you're on foot. The next tab is going to be your MO trader. This is just how you send money to people. So if you hit begin, and if I knew some guy's name, like let's see if there's anybody with a D, A. So see, if you knew their name, you could find them, select them, and say how much you wanted to send and send them money. Just a quick way to send money to people. Like, you know, if somebody helped you out and you wanted to throw them some money for helping, you could do it that way. Oh, that closed it. So the next tab is the Contracts Manager. And this is useful for getting jobs. So you'll see there's a delivery job here. There's, looks like 3 different search jobs that we haven't done. And the little numbers here just show, it's like an unread indicator. So as you read them, it'll go away. Let's see. Maintenance though, research, bounty hunter, mercenary. And again, we'll get into that here in a little bit once we take a job. So let's go on to the next tab. So the next tab is vehicle maintenance services. So the way to use this is you have to be in the pilot seat of your vehicle, and we'll just cover let's see, basic usage. So you can also use it if someone's got a ship and they're refueling you from space, but it also works on a pad or at a hangar. So I'll try to cover this once we get a ship out, but basically once you're landed on a pad or in a hangar, you can open your mobile glass and go to this tab here, and you can refuel, restock weapons, or repair the vehicle. But you have to be sitting in the pilot seat of the vehicle. So with that in mind, the next tab is Journal. This is just going to be basically kind of a bunch of random different stuff. So the basic stuff you're going to see here is kind of just guides that we're not going to go over, but just information stuff. Like this shows kind of the criminal codes for ArcCorp. This same thing for UEE and blah, 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 blah. But that's not important. The next tab here is Delphi. So this will show you your reputation basically with different organizations. And we'll go over that again once we start doing contracts. But obviously the better your reputation, the better contracts you get. And then that also comes with other benefits. You gain reputation by successfully completing contracts. You lose it by either abandoning them, failing them, etc. And then this little middle tab here just takes you back to the home screen. And then you'll see on the right side here just a bunch of information about your suit and your player, as well as, again, your current balance. So F2, by the way, is also the hotkey to go straight to the Skyline if you need to. But we'll close that. And the first thing we want to do, let's go buy some armor, because I'm going to take you through the way I enjoy playing Star Citizen. So the first contract we're going to do is actually a mercenary mission. So we're going to need armor and a weapon for that. So once you come out of this is the Habitats building, in case you forgot. So we came out of the elevator there, and we just come straight out and to the right, and we're in what's called Zone 1. So here at Zone 1, there's a couple stores and a food court right away here. So we can buy a burrito if we want. Or no, that's just a sandwich, actually, it looks like. We can also buy drinks if we need to, but we'll wait on that. Actually, no, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. So there's a couple options here. For the drinks, you can either more info or quick buy. More info just opens up the transaction system in your mobile glass, so you can buy it that way. Or if you quick buy, then it just takes the money and puts it in your hand, and there it is. So you'll notice to drink it, then you're going to want to hold F and then interact with the drink. You'll notice I can't drink it. Your helmet has to be off to drink, obviously. So we'll take our helmet off and put it in our local inventory here. And then we'll press F again and drink. You'll open the can up, take a sip. You'll see we drank quite a bit there. That's okay. We'll go ahead and we don't need it anymore. So we'll go ahead and, oh, I can't, wait. Will it not let me store that? Yeah, there wasn't a store option there for some reason. There usually is if you interact with it, but there wasn't. So you can just drag it from your hand and put it in your inventory. And then same thing with the food. So we'll quick buy one of these sandwiches. Oh, it is a burrito. Okay. And then we'll eat it. And this one's going to be a one and done. You don't get to store that one if you eat it. And just like that, we just ate and drank. So you will notice in the bottom left of your screen, you'll start to get icons for hunger and thirst. We obviously weren't hungry or thirsty, but I just wanted to showcase eating and drinking. But you will notice those icons show up, and it'll start showing a percentage that slowly goes down, and that's obviously when you'll need to eat or drink. So the first store we're going to go into here is Cubby Blast. This is going to be a weapons and armor shop here on Area 18. And you're more than welcome to browse if you want. You can look at the stuff on the walls, and then you can even, if you interact with it, you can try it on or buy it. We try it on, it just, my rotate's broken. I'm supposed to be able to rotate, but I can't. But you can just see what it would look like on you. We're going to close that, though. And then you can quick buy from this as well, and it just works the same way as the more information on the food. But we'll wait on that. I want to show off the terminals. So if we go to a terminal here on the wall, again, F to interact and then use. So choose your destination. We're going to choose Area 18 because we want anything we buy to go into our Area 18 local inventory. And then the first thing we're going to do is look at armor. We already have an undersuit, so we're not going to spend money on that right away. And then once we've chosen the armor category, we're going to, just to simplify this a little bit, we're going to choose a torso subcategory. And we're going to go for probably some medium armor here, because without being too expensive, it will protect us a little more than the light armor will. So one of my favorites to do, let me see if I can find it, is the Orc MKV core. I believe that's Mark 5. Was never good with Roman numerals. So just pick a color. Actually, wait. Yeah, because Orc Mark 5 is medium armor. So we're just going to pick a color here. I'm going to go with red. We're going to buy the torso. So that's 3,200. And then we're going to go to legs. We want to buy the Orc MKV legs in red. Same thing, just select them, hit buy. You can choose your quantity here if you want, but obviously we only want one. And then we're going to go to, let's see here, arms. We want the same thing. So Orc MKV arms, define red. Right there they are. We'll buy those. And then the helmet. So the helmet's going to be entirely up to you. I would buy one just so that it matches your the rest of your armor as far as protection goes. And it looks like they may not have the Orc Mark V helmet. They do not, so we're just going to go with the Orc MKX. And again, this is still medium armor, so it matches. You can also see here the temp rating and the damage reduction on the right side there. So each armor piece is 30% reduction because it's medium armor, and then this particular armor set is rated for temperatures between -63 and 93 degrees Celsius. You'll want to pay attention to that the further into the game you get, because depending on where you're at or what mission you're doing, you're going to need a suit rated for those temperatures, obviously. So we'll buy that. And then what we're going to do now is go to personal weapons, because we need a weapon. So I'm going to say, let's see. And then I'm just going to, for the subcategory, I'm going to choose personal weapons again so we don't see attachments. And I'm going to say that a good kind of beginner rifle is the C54 SMG. It's not too expensive, but it's also not super cheap. So we'll buy that. And then what we want to do now is change our subcategory to attachments, and we're going to buy some C54 SMG mags, and we'll just buy 10 of those so that we've got plenty in our local inventory, because they're only 10 a piece. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and buy a sight for this weapon. So if I just happen to know that these are at the bottom. I personally like the Delta 1X the best, so we're going to buy that. And you'll notice also, I should point out, let me close this really quick and go back to weapons. So you'll notice that if we choose the C54 SMG again, you'll see that for attachments it shows barrel S1, optics S1, and underbarrel S1. That just means that this gun only accepts size 1 attachments. Whereas if we go to this P4AR here, you'll see that it accepts S2s. So you need to keep that in mind when purchasing attachments. So if we go back down here to our Delta, you can see that right there for size it shows 1. So it's a size 1 attachment. So it will fit that gun. Then we're also going to buy a laser pointer because I find those useful. Again, size 1. And that should be good for now. And then for this, let's see, personal weapons. I think it's under MISC. So then what I want to buy is these med pins. These will get you out of a bad situation in a pinch. So we're just going to buy 5 of them. What these will do is quickly restore your health if you get shot at or something and lose health. So now what we'll do, now that we've bought everything we need, we're going to press I again to open our inventory, and we're going to start putting the armor on. So there's 2 ways to do it. You can either drag it like that, or you can double click and it'll automatically throw it on if you don't have anything else on. So now that our full armor set is on, we're going to equip the rifle. So again, just double click, and there it is on our back. And then we want to equip the Delta sight. So since we only have 1 gun, it's just going to go straight to that. And the laser pointer, and then we want to put a mag in the gun. So we're going to click that. I believe it. Oh, okay, the gun came with a mag, actually. So then that one just went to our belt. So we're just going to keep clicking this until it's added all the ammo to our belt that it can. And then same thing with the med pins here. I believe this suit will hold 4, so we're just going to click it until it stops holding them, and you can now see them down there. So we're fully loaded on ammo and on the med pins, and then we have our sidearm here as well. Now, you'll notice on the left, we've got what's called our personal inventory. So because we're wearing armor that has a inventory with it, we have like personal inventory, stuff that's on our person. So I'm going to go ahead and drag the drink over there. So that's on our person, and that'll be in our core armor components, which basically just means the torso. And then I'll even split this. So to split something, you right click it, and then because of where this is at, it's not gonna let me do it. Let me see if I can swap that. Yep, so if I move it over here, now I can select, we're just gonna split it to 2 and take 2 and put them in our inventory as well for backups. So to reload a gun, the ammo clip, or magazine, I'm sorry, has to be on your armor. It can't, like if it's in your armor, as in storage, you can't use it. It's gotta be actually on you. Just keep that in mind. So, we're decked out now, we're ready to rock and roll. Right? I believe so. So you'll notice, you won't notice, but you press 1 and hold 1 to view like what I call a weapon wheel. You'll notice that we can't do it here. That's just because we're in an arms free zone, which means no weapons. So now we're going to leave Cubby Blast. And Kasaba Outlet is also over here. This is going to be just a kind of a general clothing store. This stuff is not space rated, obviously, so it's not going to protect you from lack of oxygen, etc., but it's mainly just for cosmetic. But you shop the same way as you did in Cubby Blast. You can either browse the wall or come over here to the terminal and do it that way. But we're going to leave that. We're going to head out. So for now, we're done shopping, and we're going to go over here to, you'll see the sign for ArcCorp Plaza. We're going to go to ArcCorp Plaza and then head to the City Flight, which is the tram system, and get to the spaceport. So once we get to the plaza here, this is the plaza. There's several different things here, but if we just hang a right, you'll notice on the left there my heart rate monitor going up. Part of that is because I'm sprinting with a helmet, but also part of it is just because I'm sprinting. If it maxes out, you won't be able to run anymore, so just keep that in mind. You gotta kind of keep that under control. But we entered the spaceflight area, so we're just gonna come down here to the platform and wait on the tram. So it looks like it's got 25 seconds until it arrives. So we'll just sit here and wait on it. I want to take a second to just apologize if it feels like I'm moving really quick. There truly is a ton to cover in this game, and I'm trying my best to cover as much of it as possible, especially the basic stuff. But again, without spending too long on any one topic and making this just an overwhelmingly large guide. So the train's here. We're going to go ahead and get in. You can see that it's departing in 9 seconds, so we're all good there. We can we sit on these yet? Nope. Used to be able to sit on those, but they haven't been working for some time. So we'll just stand up here and, oh, that's the wrong way. Stand over here then and watch. But what this will do is this tram will just take us all the way into the spaceport. So the plus side of this is you get a really pretty view as you're going there. The downside is that if you're trying to get stuff done quick, this can really slow you down a little bit, having to travel from the main city area to a spaceport. That's why a lot of people prefer to set their primary residence to space stations, because there's no tram system. It's just all centralized at the station. But to each their own. There's not as much shopping and stuff generally available on stations. And as far as events and stuff, obviously, they're going to be on planets. But we'll just we'll sit here for the ride. You'll notice that this changes too. So this is a now arriving timer, or a next stop timer. So our next stop is going to be Riker Memorial Spaceport in 23 seconds. So we'll just wait on that here. It's a pretty cool little experience, I guess. I remember being pretty amazed by it my first time playing. There's just so much to it. But here we are. We're pulling up to the stop now. And just like that, there we are. So we'll go ahead and zoom over here. and head into the actual spaceport itself. Head through customs. Now we're at the main terminal location. So there's a couple things here. Again, I'm not going to go super crazy with it. This is a VIP lounge over here on the right. There's really nothing you can do with this at the moment. I'm sure it's intended to be used for something later, but at the moment it's kind of just a cool looking placeholder. Over here on the left is going to be rentals, so you can actually rent ships if you'd like. So again, to interact with that, just hold F, use the terminal. But you can see we can select from all... Oh, kicked me out. Just Star Citizen things. But as you can see, there's all kinds of different ships here we can rent. The first one is a Anvil Arrow. It's actually a pretty good combat fighter. But you can go through all kinds of stuff here. There's from like beginner style ships to very large, serious ships like the 300. Well, actually, I say that the 300i is not that huge, but there's definitely some big ones you can rent. I'm tempted to rent a. Let me see. This Aurora ES, only because. Yeah, let's rent that, because this way I'm starting in one of the two ships that you guys have access to. So I bought a Drake Cutlass Black, but you guys, if you just bought a game package and chose one of the beginner ones, like a the Aurora, or I believe the Mustang is one as well. One of the, I think they're like $45. One of those, then obviously you're not going to have that same ship. So we'll just do the ES so that everything kind of looks the same for the start of this series anyway. So you can see it's rented now for 24 hours. So to pull your ship out, what you'll do is walk up to any of these here retrieval terminals. And again, F to use. And then you choose your ship. So you guys will probably only see one, but I see two, obviously. We're going to select the Aurora and then hit retrieve. And it's going to go ahead and pull it out of storage. And it'll tell you which hangar it's at, so hangar 1. Don't worry if you forget, it shows up on your HUD and also tells you on the HUD which location it's at. So we'll walk over here to the hangar elevators. Quick little note, if you need food and water right and you don't notice until like last minute, you can, there's a little kiosk here that you can get food and water from. But we're good. So we're going to call an elevator. Sometimes these things seem to take forever. Sometimes they seem to come pretty quick. It's just luck of the draw, I suppose. Then we're going to select, oh, whoops. We're going to select hangar 1, not the spaceport. And once the doors close here, it should take us there. Maybe? Yep, there they go. It's funny, they don't usually take that long, but that could have had something to do with me choosing the spaceport accidentally. And then we'll just chill out here for the ride to the hangar. They're usually not too long. Like so. And welcome to the hangar. So just like habitats, there's plans for there to be eventually be persistent hangars, meaning, you know, you own the hangar and you can customize it and it looks the same every time, etc., etc. But for now, it's just randomized. So there's some interesting stuff here in the hangar, but I don't want to cover that because we'll get to that in another video. Basically, there's a lot to that as well, kind of, and I just feel like that's a topic for another video. So let's get into flight, shall we? So if you chose the Aurora, you're in luck because that's the ship we're going to be using. So here it is. The first thing you're going to want to do is get in it, right? So what we're going to do is F to interact with the door here, or the hatch. So there's a couple different ways you can get in. You can hit enter ship, and that will kind of start a little mini cutscene that just puts you right into the ship. Or you can do it manually by opening the door and then opening the ladder. and kind of, you might have to sprint. Oh, wait, maybe not. Yeah, so you can't, I was wrong. On a planet with no grav or low grav, you can kind of jump up into it, but on a planet with gravity, even if you extend all that, you still have to enter the ship through the interaction menu. And you'll see it auto closes, so you don't have to worry about closing it. So the good thing about the Aurora is that it's got a bed in it, so you could, in theory, park your ship in space and then lie down and log off, and it would spawn back in space. More on that later. But we're gonna go ahead and get in the pilot seat. So to do that, again, F to interact and enter pilot seat. And here we are in our ship. So you'll notice everything looks to be off, right? Or like really dark. So there's a couple different keybinds here and ways to do this. One way is to hold F to open the interaction thing, and then you look for the button that's here on this one, and you can turn it on this way. Another way is to press R, and that automatically triggers flight ready. So what that does is turns on every system required for flight. So engines, shields, etc., etc. So you'll notice now our MFDs or multifunction displays are now on. And it looks like they're kind of having a lighting bug, but we'll try not to pay attention to that. So, as well, our MFDs as well as our HUD is now filled out. So what we will do is kind of cover these MFDs really quick. So each ship has a different set of MFDs. Some ships have more than others, but they all can show various different information. This first screen here on the left, and I'm just... By the way, my camera movement here, this is just me in the interaction menu moving around. So the first one here is the comm screen. This is how you can communicate with different people you might run into. For this particular one though, you can also refresh it. Then if you hit menu here, you can change what shows up on this particular MFD. So if we wanted to see shields here, we could do that, and then we could change... Since that's the same screen as this, we could change this one to comms if we wanted. This allows you to customize it. So then this just shows the status of your shields all the way around your ship. So you can see they're at 100% all the way around. We can turn them off if we want, but we'll leave those on. This one here basically just shows your ship status. So it's going to show your EM as well as your IR. And then as you take damage, it's going to show where you're getting hit at. So like in this case, which shield is getting hit. This screen here is your power control. So you can prioritize what you want power to go to. So like if we wanted full power to engines, we would drag it that way. And then you'll notice now that shields have 0 power because they aren't allowed any. But we're just going to... Same thing with weapons. If you wanted full power to weapons, you could do that. We're going to try to set this back where it was, 33. Yep, there we go. You can also enter stealth mode, which just reduces your power usage so that your EM and IR are lower. Oh, oops. Didn't mean to do that. Press R again to turn all that back on. Don't think we're in stealth anymore. Items is just going to show like which individual items you have on your ship that you can power on or off. And then this one here is going to be your targeting display. We'll cover that more once we cover ship combat. Again, this is comms, and then this is just weapon status. So this shows the system status. This shows what guns you have as well as their ammo. And type, so the 2 guns we have are ballistic, not laser or plasma. And then same thing here with weapons, or sorry, missiles. And that's the basics of MFDs. So let's get into space, shall we? So the first thing you're going to want to do is request takeoff. So there's a couple ways to do that. The first way is to do this. You see Area 18 landing services here. We're going to hit the little comm button there, and it's going to communicate and send the request to launch, and there they go. We're cleared. They're going to start opening the hangar doors. Another way to do it is to set a keybind for it. Let's see if I can find it really quick. So if you go to key bindings and then advanced controls, custom, request landing right here under flight movement. So if you set a hotkey for that, you can do so by double clicking and then inputting the key. It will, you can now hail the station or the spaceport with dash or whatever you set your keybind to. So, basics of flight control, right? So space is going to be ascend, control is going to be descend, W is going to be forward, A is left, D is right, S is backwards, and then mouse movement is just kind of general ship movement, like so. So, oh, and then Q is rotate left, and then E is rotate right. So let's get out of the hangar here. And then again, F4 for third person. Now that we're out of the hangar, we're going to retract our landing gear with N. So if I press N, you'll notice they go up. And then we're just going to kind of fly up and out here for a second. So you'll notice over there on the left, real small, is... Actually, let me do this so it's easier for you guys to see. Default is 90. Turn my field of view down a little bit. So now you'll see over there on the left is our velocity. You'll see I'm capped out at 92. I can change my max speed by scroll wheeling while in the ship. And you'll see that box move. So now if we do it, you'll see we can keep going. Oh, shift is also going to be thrusters or boost. You'll see the boost bar on the left there go down. You only have X amount of it before you have to let out and let it recharge. With that in mind, it's recommended that when you're close to like a planet or a station or a hangar or you're in combat, you move this down to right here, the last blue mark. That's supposed to be the ideal range for ideal maneuverability for stuff like combat, parking, etc. So just keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and crank it up. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fly straight up and try to break atmosphere here. So we'll boost up. And again, you can see our velocity is climbing, which is good. Just go straight up. And you see there we ran out of boost. And then I'm just going to look in third person really quick to see. So we haven't broke atmosphere yet, but we're close. And we're actually close enough, I think. So I'm going to come down just to level out. I'm going to press F1 to open my Mobiglass. And we're going to go to Contracts Manager now. And like I said, our first one's going to be a mercenary. So the first thing I'm going to do is accept this a call to arms contract. All this is the Civil Defense Force, Civilian Defense Force. Basically, anytime you kill a criminal, what the game deems as a criminal, you get an extra 500 UEC. So if you're going to be doing stuff like bounty hunter, you're going to be doing stuff like bounty hunter or mercenary stuff, it's definitely a good idea to just go ahead and accept that because it's just free money for the contracts you were already going to do anyway. So we've accepted that. Now we're going to go back and do the Protect Site trial contract. And you'll see here, it just says that Blackjack is seeking to expand our roster of security professionals. To evaluate if you're a good match, we would like you to provide support to security team at Security Depot on Lyria that has been having issues with some hostiles in the area. If you are able to assist them in protecting the site and eliminating the threat, we will be able to offer you more security work. Note that friendly fire accidents will not be tolerated. So that's really important. You can get yourself into a bad situation really quick by accidentally shooting the wrong person, and we'll cover that more once we actually get there. But we're going to go ahead and accept this offer. And then it didn't show up there, so we're going to refresh. It still didn't show up. There it goes. Just take a second. And then we're going to go ahead and track that. And all that does by setting it to tracked is just makes it show up on the skyline. So now we know we need to go over here to Lyria. And we're going to find the spot. So it says go to Security Depot 1 here. So we're going to select Security Depot Lyria 1 and set route. And you'll see for navigation mode, it's told us we're going to have 2 stops. So our first stop is going to be Lyria, and then the second stop will be Security Depot Lyria 1. It's going to tell us how much fuel we have and then how much fuel we're going to use. That's quantum fuel, which is used for quantum drive. Think of quantum drive kind of like hyperspace in Star Wars. It's basically super quick space travel. So the way to turn quantum drive on is press B, and you'll see the UI there for it. You'll see the top percentage is the quantum drive spooling up, and then the left percentage is going to be calibration to your target. So we'll align it with the target here on our HUD, let it calibrate. It's fully spooled and it is now fully calibrated. So now we're going to hold B to engage the quantum drive, and boom, there we go. We are now in quantum. So we'll just fly over here to, what was this, Lyria? Yeah, Lyria real quick. If you want to cancel quantum drive for any reason, like you need to stop, you can just hold B and it'll cancel it again. So here we are, we've stopped. And we're going to find the marker again on the HUD. There it is down here. We're going to line it up with our second stop and let it calibrate. And then again, hold B. And because this is a shorter distance, it's not going to look quite as crazy as the last one. But you'll see it does speed up when we do move there pretty quickly. In my opinion, one of the coolest things about this game is being able to travel from planet to planet without cutscenes. It's huge to me. So it's spooling down. There it is. So we're going to shut it off now with B. By tapping B, we're going to rotate our ship around. And we're going to fly in the rest of the way. So quantum fuel, I can't remember if I said it earlier or not, is what's used for the quantum drive. So you'll notice over there on the right side of our HUD, you see the HYD, H-Y-D, and QA, Q-U-A indicators. Those just indicate hydrogen fuel level and quantum fuel level. So quantum fuel is obviously used for quantum drive, and then hydrogen is just used for regular flight, like so. So you notice there we came in pretty quick. If you need to slow down rapidly, you can hold shift to use your boost thrusters to slow you down, which is going to be useful. So now that we're close, we're going to bring our max speed down and just kind of cruise in here. Another important key for ships is L to turn on the light. So you can see now we can kind of start to see the surface here. We're just going to come in nice and slow, so that we don't accidentally hit the ground or fly over it or anything crazy like that. And let's see. We're pretty close here. And this particular area is not a restricted area, so we're good to just land right at the front door, which is what we're going to do. So we're going to press N to put our landing gear down. We're going to get over here by the front, straighten the ship up, and drop it down. And there we are. We've landed. So a little tip is to always turn your engines off before you get out, for whatever reason that keeps ships from flying away in windstorms or whatever. So we're going to press I to turn just our engines off. You'll see they went off. I'm going to go ahead and leave the light on. And now to exit the pilot seat, we're just going to hold Y. There we go. Going to do this little animation here. And here we are. And then we're going to exit the ship. Exit right. And we're here. So you can see it's -6 degrees Celsius here. You can hear them shooting inside, actually. So to equip our gun, we're going to hold 1 on your number row. And then we're going to use our mouse to select the C54 SMG. And we're going to run up in here. You can press T to toggle your helmet light. So you're not going to be able to see it much because of the ship light, but if we get up here where it's a little darker, you can see the light coming on. And then Alt-X is going to wipe your visor. So since it was raining there, we'll wipe that rain off, and we'll actually wipe again now that we're inside. That's better. So U toggles your under barrel attachment, in this case the laser. R is going to quick holster, or holding R, I'm sorry. But R to reload, or in this case, since we have a full mag, he's just going to inspect it. So we're good. We're going to use the elevator here to go down to the sub-level. We're going to go ahead and turn our laser on. Yep, there we go. And you'll see now we have 300 rounds on us and 50 in the gun. So as we come down here, part of 3.17.2 is this new update where friendlies have markers over their head. I'm not sure if that's toggleable or not. There's some controversy about it. Some people love it, some people hate it. I get that it's immersion breaking, but for new players it can be very helpful because distinguishing between friendly and not friendly on these with the way the AI currently behaves can be very difficult. So I'm glad we get to see that. I'm glad you guys can see that. That makes it a little easier for us. So we're just gonna walk in here and be real careful. So I'm gonna crouch down with control and then Q and E to lean, by the way. And of course, right click to aim down sights. So there's a bad guy. I'm gonna drop him. There's another one over there because he doesn't have an arrow over his head, right? So we're gonna try to get rid of him. This guy is not very accurate at range. There we go, we got him. So that's 2 down. And you'll see, let's see if we can find a security officer. So as you can see, this is going to be the Blackjack security. They're friendly. They're the guys who paid us to come here to help. So you obviously don't want to shoot them. That's not friendly. That's also not a friendly. Keep proning at the wrong moment. Alright, he's dead. He hit me there, but I'm okay. It was a light hit. Dropped that one. It shows there's one left somewhere. And as you can see, we're getting 500 Alpha UEC every time we kill one. That's because of the Call to Arms contract. So again, we're getting money for taking down criminals. Alright, so I'm betting this last guy is still down here. So we're just gonna do this. On these missions, feel free to take your time. I know I'm kind of rushing through it. It's just because I've done so many of these. These are probably one of my more favorite ones to do. But feel free to take your time. There's no timer on it. The only kind of timer type thing is just if you hang out too long, the AI security may kill them all before you do, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You won't get the bonuses for it, obviously, for doing the Call to Arms contract. But you still get the contract completion even if the AI kill them all. So kind of like free money in a way. And as you can see right there, we killed the last one, so it's going to tell us up top there that we've completed the objectives. And then once it shows us the last complete objective, it'll tell us we got paid. Should be the next one, I believe. Yep, and we were awarded 15,500 for that, as we can now see in our current balance here. So I think those are pretty easy first kind of starter missions. You can also do the, let's see, oops. You can also do the search or the delivery missions. Those are super easy and don't involve combat hardly at all. But if you want to kind of jump into combat, I think FPS combat in this game is really good. I think it feels really good. So I like it. And I find it a lot more interesting than the delivery or search missions. But to each your own. We'll cover each of the different mission types in different videos. But anyway, so now that you're here and the contract's complete, you don't have to immediately leave. You can actually loot, and I would recommend looting. So not only can you loot the bodies, but you can also look for containers to loot. So let's see, not every container is going to be lootable, but you'll get the longer you play, you'll get the hang of the ones that are and aren't. So if we check back here, a smart person would be walking around very carefully until they knew the entire building was clear, but I'm not very smart, I guess, so I'm not doing that. Let me see. Well, I'll show you bodies first. So this is a security officer, it looks like, that they killed. So if we F over his body and loot, you can see that we can view basically everything he had on him. So he had this shotgun, and we can take that if we want. He's had shotgun mags that are all empty. Wait. Yeah. He had a grenade on him, so we'll take that. And then he also had... He was wearing this armor here. So if we right-click on the armor and open it, you can see that we can view the storage inside those different armor pieces as well. So he had a LMG battery, pistol mag, sniper rifle mag, a SMG mag, and for the SMG we have, which is nice. It's not gonna let me stack for some reason. Looks like no more mags for that shotgun though, which is okay. So we'll take the... Oops, didn't mean to do that. I'm not really interested in anything else, so we'll leave him. And then we just exit. Exit. So now if we hold 1 for our weapon wheel, you can see we've got the shotgun as well, which has 10 rounds in it. We'll switch back to the SMG. Let's see. Then we'll go over here. We could do the same thing with this guy. Loot him. Check his vest here. Nothing in there. Check his legs. Let's see. He had a S71 sniper mag. That's nothing too crazy to worry about. Keep in mind, though, you can sell anything you loot just about. So it's basically free money to loot these places, on top of the money you got for completing the contract. So let's see if we can... I'm not going to go super loot crazy here just for the sake of the video, but you could spend probably a good 20 to 30 minutes here looting if you really wanted to. Let's see if we can find... Obviously, you can pick up any of these weapons here on the ground. See if we can find a container. Here's one. So if we loot this, you can see there's all kinds of different stuff in here. So there's a knife. We can take that and double click it, and there it is equipped now. There's a paramed device we can take. We'll go ahead and equip that, and then we'll put this multi-tool in our inventory. And then we'll also take the tiger's claws. Those are going to be useful for something else that I'll explain in another video. Let's see, is there a weapons crate here? Surely. Yep, there's one. So here's another small one. Again, kind of the same stuff. We're going to take the tractor beam attachment though. We're going to take this extra knife because they sell for decent money. The sawtooths don't sell for either much or anything. I can't remember. And then these longer ones like this are going to be weapons crates. So there's a couple weapons and armor crates, I should say. So there's some Inquisitor core armor here, and a pistol and some, like a sight that might be worth something. We don't have room for the armor, so we're going to leave it. But yeah, I mean, you can get all kinds of stuff from these different crates. It's pretty cool and kind of makes these missions a lot more interesting. Here's another one. You can see this really cool looking leg piece. And then a shotgun, some more arms, a helmet, another sight. Let's see, another sight, we'll take that. We'll leave the rest of it. But anyway, you get the point. You just look around as much as you can for loot, and then once you're done, all you gotta do is hop back on the elevator. Oh, hit surface level. And once it realizes what I told it to do, There it goes. It'll take us up. And that's your first Star Citizen contract. So I think this was definitely easier with the markers over the friendly's head, especially for new players. Because what I was saying is, with the way the AI behaves currently, what I mean by that is they can be very confusing sometimes. Like sometimes you can get right next to an enemy AI and they still won't shoot at you. So if you didn't know any better, like you didn't know the security organization's colors, for example, you wouldn't know which one to shoot until they shot at you and possibly killed you, right? So, oh, that's not what I meant to do. What am I trying to do? Oh yeah, wipe that. So I think that adding the markers is a big help for, like I said, for new players. And let me just look really quick and see if they've got that as something that can be disabled. Oh, you can also, so if you hold one, now you can see we can cycle through all these different items we have on us. So like the pistol we can pull out. The paramed device we can pull out. And then the knife we can pull out as well. And then we can go to unarmed combat, which is just fists, and then lower. Or if you had a gun out or an item out, it would say holster. And now we look normal. So what we're going to do is get back in our ship here. And we're going to start wrapping this first video here up. This is going to be a long one, but I feel like the first hour or so is really important and there's just so much to cover. So we're going to press I to turn our engines back on. And then we're going to take off using the same flight controls as earlier. We're going to retract our landing gear with N. Go ahead and increase our speed because we're getting out of here. And we're going to go ahead and boost up to try to get out of the atmosphere of the planet so that we can quantum drive back to Area 18. So what I will do, for the sake of the video, is, yeah, we should be close enough. I will select this really quick. So we're going to go to ArcCorp. We're going to zoom in on that. We're going to drag it around with left and right click until we find it. There it is. Select Area 18, then set route. And then, same as before, we're just going to find the marker on our HUD here. There it is. And we're going to QT to it. So what I will do is I'll just cut this bit out so that you guys don't need to see all the rest of this. And then I will see you when we get back to Area 18. I'm going to throw this quick little highlight in here. I got interdicted through Quantum, which basically just means it's kind of a random event that can just kind of happen. But I got pulled out of Quantum, and it looks like this guy's in battle with Space Corps right now, like Space Security. So he is a hostile target. So I'm not going to cover ship combat in this specifically, but oh, I lost him. There we go. But oh, am I out of missiles? Rip. But I figured we would try to see if we can't get a kill here. Like I said, we'll cover actual combat in another video, but this should at least kind of give you an idea. Sorry if I'm getting a little quiet, just trying to focus here. I can't die, so I can show you guys how to land at a station. So you'll notice I'm trying to follow that circle there because it kind of walks you through where to aim in order to make your shots connect. Oh, they're too hot. Oh no, they're low. Okay. I'm used to a laser primary weapon, which obviously doesn't run out of ammo, it just overheats. So I'm not used to having to like actually worry about making shots count. Like, I'm not going to be able to get this guy, I don't think. Because I'm not going to have enough ammo. Yeah. Because I believe we are out of missiles. Yep. Yep. We're straight up out. That sucks. So we can't do anything about this, but that's okay. It wasn't our problem anyway, really. So we'll just, we'll jump back into QT to ArcCorp. And again, I just kind of wanted to throw that in the video as a little bonus. But yeah, I will see you guys when we get back. Alright, so here we are coming out of Quantum, back over Area 18. And luckily, we came in right next to the spaceport. That won't always happen, it just depends on where you're coming from. So I've come into Area 18 way over there next to where my crosshair is before. So when you're looking for the spaceport, because I remember having trouble finding it my first time, just look for this big red platform here. That's going to be the spaceport. We're going to go ahead and fly down just so we get closer. It was trying to lock a target there, I guess. And we'll slow down once we get closer. And now that it says please contact ATC to land up there, we're gonna, again, there's two ways you could do this. You could do it over here on your MFD, or we're gonna press dash and it should automatically do it. Yep, there we go. And they're going to give us an assigned landing bay, and there it is. It's that arrow on the HUD there. So we're just going to fly over to that. We'll slow our max speed down a little. Yeah, I'm not sure what was up with that interdiction, because they didn't even attack, so they must have just been preoccupied with whatever else they had going on. You'll notice I had trouble moving there. That was because my speed was outside of the optimal maneuvering speed, so in the red that we talked about earlier. We're going to line up here and we're going to press N to put our gear down. Fly in, we'll turn our light off because we don't need it. Get about here and bring her down. And there we are. Press I to turn it off. And while we're here, I'll go ahead and show you the vehicle maintenance services. So we don't need a repair. We do need a restock, which is weird that it's not telling us that. But we can go ahead and refuel. So, oh, actually, I lied. That's interesting. It's saying that we don't need anything. Ah, there it goes. Okay, just needed to refresh. So we do need a mild repair. This is probably going to happen anytime you fly. It's going to need something, so just prepare for that. So we'll do that, and then we blew all our ammo on that little fight there, so we're going to restock that. And then we'll go ahead and refuel our quantum and hydrogen fuel, and you'll see it process all these. You just want to stay in the ship until it's done, and it'll finish them after a little wait here. There we go, we're done. So now that we're done, let's see, our engines are off. Let's see, yeah, so we're good. We can go ahead and hop out with Y. And then we're gonna exit right. You can see the thirst indicator over there on the left now as well. So we need to drink. And then we're gonna come over here to the landing bay. Walk over to this elevator. Call the elevator. And we'll wait on it patiently. We hope. There it is. And we'll go up to the spaceport here. So you are good to log out anytime once you are at a location, whether that be a station, a city on a planet like this, whatever. As long as it's an actual location and you've landed your ship there, you're good. You can log off and it'll store the ship, and then you'll just respawn in the habitat for the location you're at. But you can also, if you're not gonna log off, you're just, say we were stopping to go get more gear to sell some of the gear we took. You want to make sure you store the ship so you don't get fined for obstructing the pad. So we're going to open the fleet manager again here, and we're just going to hit store. And there we go. It's stored. We're good. So at this point, we're going to conclude the first video here. Again, to log off, all you got to do is just exit to menu or quit game. We can exit to menu. And again, when we load back in now, we'll just spawn in the habitat at Area 18 with all of our gear still. So we'll let it exit to menu here. And there we go. So this is going to conclude the first video. Again, I know it's long and I apologize. I just tried to be as brief, but also cover all the important stuff. So again, this game is very complicated and there's a lot to it. It's got a very steep learning curve, but that's okay. You can do it. You can have fun, and I think we're gonna do pretty good with this series here. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope this helped. I hope I covered everything. I can't think of anything really major that I didn't cover for this first video. But if you guys have any questions or there's something you didn't see, let me know in the comments down below and I can shoot you back a reply. Otherwise, I will see you on the next video in this series, which I'm not sure what we'll cover. Maybe we'll cover a different mission or selling gear or something like that. I'm going to try to make the next ones a little shorter and more specific to a specific topic. But yeah, that's all I got for now. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video and you found it genuinely helpful, please do me a favor and leave it a like. And if you're interested in seeing more, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. That'd be great. I could plan to do a lot more of these and basically cover as much information as I can. So, yeah, again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.